binder. Actually, yeah, get your binder. Actually, leave your binder here because for now. You'll get it back. Yes. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah. When he's doing his speech, that's a good time to go out. Okay. Okay. So, what's that? Back. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Try that again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Much better. You can find a prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah, in front of you or underneath you. Before we begin our service, it's a great honor to welcome Thatcher's father, Izzy, to the Bima as he presents to him with his talit.
Asher ki chanu vitivanu Bahi tatev batiti.
Amen.
Put it through your arms. It's beautiful. All right, give your dad a hug. All right, take a seat. We begin our service with Matovu on page 290.
חסדך אבוא ביתך אשתחווה אל היכל קודשך מיראתך מה טובו אוהליך יעקב אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל מה טובו אוהליך יעקב אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל
291, the bottom.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail. How well we are aware, we would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength.
Amen.
On the next page.
Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorai, ata v'rata, ata yetzarta, ata nefachta bi. Me'ata meshamra bekirbi Elohai, Elohai neshama shenatata bi next page, we continue with our blessings for daily miracles, Nisim B'chol Yom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor.
We continue 298, the bottom.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world. While the principle remains in the world to come, they are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people, but the study of Torah encompasses them all.
For those who are able, we rise together for Baruch She'amar 301.
ברוך שאמר והיה העולם, ברוך הוא. ברוך עושה וראשית, ברוך אומר ועושה. ברוך חוזר ומקיים, ברוך מרחם על הארץ. ברוך מרחם על הבריות, ברוך משלם שכר טוב ליראיו. ברוך חי לעד וקיים לנצח. ברוך פודה ומציל, ברוך שמו. יחיד חי עולמים, מלך משובח ומפואר, עדי עד שמו הגדול. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מהולל בתשבחות.
Please be seated. 306.
הללו אל בקודשו, הללו ברקיע עוזו, הללו בגבורותיו, הללו קרוב כולו, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללו הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללו, הללויה, הללו בתיק השופר, הללו בנבל וכינור, הללו בתוף ומחול, הללו במינים ועוגב, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללו, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללו, הללויה. הללו בצלצלי שמה, הללו בצלצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללו, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללו, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללו, הללויה. Page 310 in the middle. שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, בכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נאווה תהילה, בפי ישרים תתהלל, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנבלעות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אלכי העולמים. Page 312. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל שמי דקודשם. בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן.
We rise together, 313.
Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Baed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Baed.
We continue the bottom on page 313. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech osei shalom uvorei et hakol hama'ir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim uvetavo mechadesh b'chol yom ta'amid ma'aseh v'reishit ma rabu ma'asechach Adonai kulam b'chochma asita mal ha'aretz kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha ba'al milrei or shasita yifarucha sela or chadash al tzion ta'ir v'nizkei hulanu mehera le'oro Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'marot.
Amen.
We continue on page 316.
Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola Mitera Chamalta Aleinu Ahava Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola Mitera Chamalta Aleinu Ba'avur Avoteinu Me'imoteinu Shebatchu Becha Vatelamtei Chukei Chaim Kein Techoneinu Utelamteinu Kein Techoneinu Utelamteinu Ahava Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola Mitera והאר עינינו בתורתך ונדבק ליבנו במצוותיך מייחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם בעת כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא פתחנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Melchuto Le'olam Va'ed
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
The bottom of page 321.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished. A gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Our song of freedom, our Michamocha, 322.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. שירך חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד. יאי די 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 די, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da. Israel, Kuma, Kuma, Be'ezrat, Be'ezrat, Israel. ופתחנו ממך יהודה מישראל גואלנו Adonai Tzebaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch Ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
For those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah 324, and we rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשעיני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכרז אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור בדור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
The bottom of page 328. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. We continue the top of page 329.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שמי שבת, כולם יסברו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. בהשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה וראשית שבת. זכר למעשה וראשית שבת. וישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת וישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת.
330.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence.
Amen.
334.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uveracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a few moments for a private meditation. Ose shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
My Torah portion for this Shabbat is called Parshat Bahar. It focuses on the laws about the sabbatical year. In a typical cycle, people sow and prune their fields for 6 years in a row. In a cultivate the fruits of the field for their uses. The Parsha teaches us that in the 7th year, the land is supposed to be given a year of rest and nothing harvested, instead left for wild animals and the poor. Parshat Bahar also tells us about the Jubilee year, which occurs every 50 years. This is a time where all things return to the ancestors or previous owners, marking the return of any properties purchased during the previous 49 years to the original families who had been given the land in the time the Israelites entered it. It also serves as a reminder that God owns the land, not the people. This Torah portion also emphasizes that the need to help those in need. Specifically, if someone in our family needs help financially, we rally around our family and find a way to help. Having just endured one of the most challenging years of my life, I have a better understanding of why it's important for everyone and everything to take periods of rest and to help those less fortunate. Consider the idea of rest after 6 years of planting and cultivating the land. Famous rabbis observed why rest was good. One of the most famous rabbis, Torah commentators, Rashi, who compared allowing the fields to rest no different than how people are guided to seek rest during Shabbat. Rashi likely observed how crops relied after a year of rest. Additionally, another brilliant and medieval rabbi, Maimonides, or all known as the Rambam, commented on this idea of rest by releasing the flow land, and it will become invigorated by lying fallow and not being worked. It will regain strength. Another medieval sage, writing from what would be Iraq today, Ibn Ezra, links the agricultural cycle to God's foundation in Genesis on the 7 days of creation, nothing on the 7th day, which is Shabbat. But Maimonides took it one step further and helped us understand these years of rest for the land and the Jubilee year benefit those in need of food and money. Imagine canceling debts and freeing slaves and returning the land to the original owners, and how hitting a reset button must felt throughout communities, or as Maimonides say, to teach sympathy towards others and promote the well-being of all. Writing from the 3rd century, Rabbi Asi points to the mitzvah of tzedakah, also known as a moral obligation to contribute or care for others. He wrote, tzedakah is more important than all other common commandments put together. Even though the pandemic, we learned that the importance of tzedakah and providing for people who need help. Whether it's school or soccer or even work, we all need to take a break from now and then. During this bar mitzvah journey, there has been many times I've grown tired of studying and would prefer to just play on the computer or kick a soccer ball around. Often after a period of rest, I would find the strength to push through my Hebrew. I learned through my mitzvah project, working with top soccer for the Vestavia Hill Soccer Club last fall, to work with special needs children to share.
On page 362, for the honor of opening the Ark, we welcome Angie Gould and Lador Bador from generation to generation. We welcome Izzy and Larry Gould. We rise together.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kemasecha, malechutecha malechut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai meloch leolam ba'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim, heitiv avir לפניך את ציון, תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים, כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא אדון עולמים, כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
So 3 years ago, I told your older brother Jake his Hebrew name at his bar mitzvah. And today, I'll remind you of yours. Your Hebrew name is Chaim Uriel. Zeta named you after your late great-grandmothers. Chaim is masculine, the masculine version of my late grandma Dora's middle Hebrew name. This is hard to keep up with, sorry. Which means life. Uriel is based on my late Mom Sally's original last name, which means light or fire of God. There's certainly a lot of fire and light within you, as many here would surely attest. Throughout your preparation for this milestone moment, you've questioned the process as many Jewish boys have for many centuries, and I was no different. Like you, I wanted to know why I had to learn Hebrew. What could a bar mitzvah possibly mean to me? What I understand better today than I did on April 4th, 1987, is that legacy and tradition keeps the memories of our loved ones alive. There's something truly amazing about reading from Torah, from a handwritten scroll, the way you will read it today, the way your brother read it 3 years ago, the way I read it 35 years ago, and the way Zeta, behind you, read it in 1954, 68 years ago. And in just 3 years, we'll all hopefully gather here once more to hear your younger brother, Nathan, read from the Torah. Perhaps more tangible for you is how for many years we have attended Zeta's Passover Seders. I have vivid memories of these dinners, as I'm sure you do as well. Consider the songs we sing, the food we eat, the tradition and rituals celebrating these nights. I had always said I wanted to ensure you had a religious foundation because I know you will reach a point in your life where you look to a higher power for understanding. Judaism might help you find that answer. My father and my late mother, Andrea, instilled in me the importance of raising my children as Jews. I've done my best to honor those wishes, and I can only hope you will carry on the tradition and rituals of Judaism one day with your own children.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlul Adonai iti Uneromema Shemo Yachtav Lecha Adonai Hagedula Vehagebura Vehatiferet Vehanetzach Vehahod Ki chol bashamayim u'ba'aretz Ki chol bashamayim u'ba'aretz Lecha Adonai hamamlacha Ve'amit na'aseh lechol lerosh For our first Aliyah, we invite up Larry Gould. Ya'amol Aliyah la Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamorach.
Baruch Adonai hamborach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar manu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Uvaki amroch ahava achicha amech amach v'nimkar lach lo ta'avod bo avodat aved v'sachik tushav yiyem imach ad shanat hayavel b'yaved imach yetze me'imach uvanav imo v'shav al mishpachto v'yachuzat avutav v'yashuv chai avodav hem asher hotzate etzi atem me'eretz mi'ayim lo yimrechu mi'mechem aval lo tatrubo faper v'yavad me'eloha echa v'avodacha v'yamarta asher yihyo me'at hagadol asher savivav b'chol miharel v'keno aved v'yomer b'gam me'verhu Kashufu Hagarim Imachem Mehehatem Umimashpachtem Asher Imachem Asher Holcho Beartzo Beahulochem Lechodo Beholeo Bezacharatem Licho Achad Yacharem Lareat Acharei Leolam Avodah Beachavo Bnei Yisrael Ahav Bishop Be'ahavav lo taturubon yet ba'farech. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yasher koach. For our second Aliyah, we invite Izzy and Andrew Gould up. Ya'amdu Aliyah la Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hambrach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher baruch banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Ki avadai heim asher hotzeti otam me'eretz Mitzrayim lo yimachru mimkeret aved lo tirdevo befarech ve'yareit am Elohecha ve'avdecha ve'amatcha asher yihyu lach me'et hagoyim asher sevivotechem mehem tiknu eved ve'amam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Yasher koach. For our third Aliyah, we invite up Thatcher's brother Jake to the Torah. Ya'amol Aliyah la Torah.
Baruch et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten hatorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'gam ibnei hatoshavim hagarim imahem mehem tiknu amimishpachtam asher imachem asher holidu be'etzehem v'chayu lachem la'ahuzah v'chinachotem otam livnehem acharahim lareshet ahuzazah le'olam bachem tayom uvachehem b'nei Yisrael lo ish b'nei be'ohiv lo tirdavo be'fareh behiv tasir ve'havta ger betoshav ima achihav imo v'nimkar leger toshav mimach o loger mishpacha ger.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten hatorah.
Amen. When a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah comes to the bima to be honored in front of his or her community, it's not the reading from the Torah that is the moment of passage from theoretical childhood into adulthood, but actually the doing of the blessing before the Torah. So in this special moment, we call Thatcher to his own aliyah. Ya'amod Chaim Uriel ben Yitzchak Akiva l'aliyah l'Torah bar mitzvah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvara Le'olam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Acharei nimkar ge'ulam tihya lo echad me'ahav yigalanu. Ododo, bemdodo, yigalanu, omisher, besaro, imishpakto, yigalanu. Ohisiga yado, vinigal, vihisav, imkonehum, mishnat, himakrolo, ajnat, hayovil, via, kesev, mimkaro, bimispar, shanim, Ime sahir ihye imor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natab lanu et Torat emet v'chaye olam natab betohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach.
As the Torah is within our presence, we take time to think of those in our community who are in need of strength or healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Harold Seitlin, Deborah Chargois, Orit Cohen, Karen Edwards, Edward Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldman, Sandra Goldman, Miriam Goldstein, Fran Curry Harrington, Josie Hatfield, Emily Held, Evelyn Held, Donald Himmel, Ralph Holtzman, Corey Kessler, Jerry Lapidus, Rush Lishkoff, Zane Monlick, Malka Bat Rachel, Arvin Robinson, Susan Schumann, Leslie Simon, Chrissy St. Charles, Don St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, and Edgar Zimmerman. For those with us this morning, if you were thinking of a loved one, a friend who means so much to you and you wish to share a name out loud, we invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For those names mentioned and for those names that are still in our hearts, our Misha Berach can be found middle of page 371.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
For the honor of lifting and dressing the Torah, we welcome again Thatcher's brother, Jake and Nathan. Please rise. Oh, Izzy's going to do it. Okay.
And Izzy.
Tell me when. Now.
זאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. Ay dai 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 ay dai 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 ay dai 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 ay dai 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 ay dai 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 ay dai 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 ay dai 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 dai. Be seated. Not yet, nice. Every week when we read from the Torah, which is from the 5 books of Moses, we also read a connected portion from the prophets, which we call our Haftarah. And this week's Haftarah is from Jeremiah. Now, Jeremiah was imprisoned in Jerusalem, and this week's Torah portion, there's often a thematic connection between the Torah portion and the Haftarah portion. So in this week's Torah portion, we spoke often about retention of lands or when lands should change ownership and that kind of thing. And this week in Jeremiah, when Jeremiah was imprisoned, he was trying to faithfully execute God's commandment in order to restore the proper ownership of land to someone. And that is what our bar mitzvah will be reading from today.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar binviim tovim v'rotzav v'divrehem hanamarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael avmo uv'Nvi'ei hamet v'atzedek.
Amen.
Jeremiah said, the word of Eternal came to me. Your uncle Shalom's son, Shalom El, will come to you, saying, buy my land in Anatot, because you have the redemption right to buy it. And just as the Eternal had foretold, my cousin Shalom El came to me in the court of the guard and said, please buy my land in Anot, in the territory of Benjamin. You have the right of possession and the duty of redemption, so buy it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol halamim zidik b'haro ha'el hanaman ha'umer ve'oseh hamdaber kayim shekol v'rav emet v'atzedek all haTorah ve'all havodah ve'all hanaviim ve'all yom haShabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnuha lechavod v'litafaret all hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach v'rashimcha b'fi uvarash uhim utav yikrom shimcha b'fi kol hai Tomid le'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. Yasher koach.
We rise together as we return the Torah back to the ark.
Yehallelu et shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado oto al eretz v'shamayim mayarem keren le'amo tehila Chasidav livnei Israel am gerov. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz chaim hi lamalcha מצדיקים בם, ותומכי המאושר. דרכיהם דרכי נועם, בכל נתיבותיה שלום שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך, מנשוב קדש ימינו כקדם.
Thatcher, on behalf of Cantor Whitner, our clergy, our senior team, our board, we want to wish you a mazel tov and such a great job this morning. There's a great teaching from the Talmud. More have I learned from my students rather than from my teachers. And in your Devar Torah, I believe that you quoted 4 incredible great rabbis in our tradition, which could be a record for a Devar Torah. So when you become a bar mitzvah, the journey doesn't stop. It continues forever, and we're supposed to live Torah as a part of our life. And what I am so proud of is that you took the time to look at your Devar Torah and to talk about the importance of rest, and you filled it with beautiful commentaries from Rashi, Ibn Ezra, Maimonides, and Rabbi Asi, and from a rabbi you have taught me and you have taught this congregation. So therefore, my message to you on this Shabbat is when you work hard at something, you can be so successful. Sometimes we won't get what we want, even when we tried so hard, but it's the effort which is rewarding. And that's what Judaism commands us, that we continue to try. But I also want to tell you that your Torah portion was also about rest. I know you have your busy life, soccer and your friends, but remember the words which you spoke this morning, the importance to take a break. And after hearing your dad's beautiful blessing to you, take that time to hear about your legacy. Take that time to hear about your tradition and your family, because at the end of the day, that is what matters the most. We are so proud of you, and Mazel Tov. And I ask the congregation to rise as we take Thatcher before the ark.
To a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha. And all shall praise your name. To the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lechi lach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechilach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
We remain standing for Aleinu 586.
עלינו לשמח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. מה אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Before we recall Temple Emanu-El's Yortzites, we as a Temple Emanu-El community, we recall the victims who were brutally murdered last week in Buffalo: Celestine Chaney, Roberta Drury, Andre McNeil, Catherine Massey, Margus Morrison, Hayward Patterson, Aaron Salter, Geraldine Talley, Ruth Whitfield, and Pearl Young, who was an Alabama native. We recall the Yortzites of Robert Z. Ayland, Francis Axel, Bernard Axel, Rosa Abaddon, Eleanor Boozman Bennett, Frederick K. Bergman, Chaya Sarah Bertrand, Harold B. Black, Helen Brook, Edith K. Buxbaum, Lottie Kolick, Morris Henry Cooper, Phoebe Cotton, Florence Toro Eisner, Morris Finkel, Ann Mitnick Greenspoon, Barbary Heister, Harry Held, Harry R. Kaplan, Maria Katz, Fedora Krensman, Annie Cronenberg, Shirley Liventhal, Kay Goldstein Lewis, Julian Lichter, Felix Mendel, William Michaelov, Mildred Overbach, Meyer Randman, Lily Zuckerman Rabalski, Irene Rich, Julius Rittenbaum, Louis Rogoff, Max Harry Rubin, Lucille Wolf Rosenfeld, Sarah Rosenthal, Pete Roth, Sandra Russell, Minnie W. Solomon, Martha L. Shapiro, Michael Slive, Stanley Solomon, Eileen Solomon, Robert Steinhauer, Alex H. Sternman, Sissy Toronto, Caroline Varon. Our heartfelt condolences in the recent passings of Avery Fearman, grandson of Bobby and Chuchi Fearman, nephew of Judy Ladden McDonald and Meredith Fearman Smith, Kenny Hanley, friend of Ben Singletary, Ellen Kahn, mother of Elizabeth David, John Clifford Olenek, father of Anna Olenek Levy, grandfather of Mackenzie and Madison Levy, Thatcher, you have so beautifully honored the memories of Andrea K. Gould, Sally L. and Milton Fields, Dora and Isadora Gould, Carl Crackover, Marla Sturm, and Vivian Deemer. May all of their memories forever be a blessing. We rise together for our Martyrs Kaddish as a united congregation, 598. Yikadal vikada shemei rabba, biomad yivrach riote v'amlich malchute, bechayachon v'yomechon, uvchayet tekol beit Yisrael, bagala uizman kariv yimru.
Amen.
Yehei shemei rabba mevarach li'olam alamei amaya, v'yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitala v'yitalal shemei dekucha
Brichu.
le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damin ram b'yoma v'yimru
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen.
O se shalom bimromav, huya se shalom, aleinu vel kol Yisrael, ne'imeru, amen.
Before we conclude with Ein Kelohenu on 626, I want to invite up Thatcher, his brothers, all of the friends, all of the kids. Please come on up and surround Thatcher and celebrate him as he became a bar mitzvah just this moment. Come on up, everybody. Come on up, kids.
Ein Kelohenu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, mich Eloheinu, mich Adonenu, mich Emalkeinu, mich Moshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Amen. L'chaim.
Here's your moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lehem meharetz. Amen.
All right, tear the chal, share with a
Damn,
friend.
on.
Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
everybody.
shalom.
Lunch downstairs. And please join us for Shabbat luncheon downstairs. That's right. Yeah, rip it. You got to eat it first. Okay, no.